Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're planning a trip to the historic, misty mountain town of Jiufen in Taiwan, I am absolutely thrilled you're here. Because, when it comes to Jiufen, timing isn't just some minor detail. It is literally everything. It can completely make or break your entire experience. So today, we're going to totally transform how you plan this trip. Grab your notebook, get focused, and let's map out the absolute perfect plan to see those iconic red lanterns.
Okay, let's dive right into this. 80%. That is a staggering figure, right? And it really represents our central puzzle today, because it rains roughly 80% of the year in Jiufen. Remember, this is a former gold mining town perched way up high on a coastal ridge, which means it practically lives up in the clouds. So how exactly do you plan a trip to a place that is almost always wet? Well, you don't just guess, you've got to strategize. Section 1. Decoding Jiufen's weather.
To truly master a visit to this town, we first have to understand its distinct seasons and learn exactly how to navigate that infamous, ever-present gray forecast. Let's walk through the year. Spring? Well, it's mild but kind of damp with a frequent drizzle. Summer? Honestly, you want to avoid it if you can. It's hot, humid, heavily crowded, and carries a serious typhoon risk where storms close in incredibly fast. Winter is highly atmospheric, sure, but it comes with persistent rain and cold. But autumn? Autumn is your definitive target. From October through December, this is the ultimate sweet spot. It's the driest stretch in a famously wet place with incredibly comfortable temperatures hovering right around 22 to 25 degrees Celsius. If you want a mild, relatively dry visit, autumn is absolutely the way to go. But let's be realistic for a second. You might not be able to make it in autumn. Say you wake up, look at your phone, and the forecast for your Jiufen trip is completely gray. I want to ask you directly, will rain ruin your trip? Should you panic and just cancel your plans the second you see those raindrops on the radar? The answer is absolutely not. No way. In fact, we need to completely reframe how we look at the weather here. The rain is actually part of the magic. It's quite literally why Jiufen looks the way it does. The mist and light drizzles soften the hillside into that moody, glowing scene you see in all those incredible photographs. Plus, let's be real, the rain is an excellent excuse to duck inside and eat way too many warm taro balls. And those iconic red lanterns, they actually need the wet stone steps to reflect their glow. The rain doesn't ruin the atmosphere, it completely creates it. Northern Taiwan expert Nathan Pell offers a really powerful perspective shift on this. He says, do not cancel on a rainy forecast. I have had some of my best Jiufen evenings in light rain, when the day trippers leave early and the wet lanterns glow twice as bright. That is just such a fantastic way to look at it. He also offers an absolutely crucial tip. Check the radar the morning of your trip, not the week before. The weather on this specific coastline changes literally hour by hour. So the goal isn't to run from the weather, right? It's to dress for it. Here's some specific actionable advice on what you actually need to pack. First up, bring a packable rain jacket. You might be wondering, why not an umbrella? Well, umbrellas are incredibly tough to navigate in Jiufen's narrow, tightly packed lanes. You'll just be bumping into people. Second, wear shoes with really solid grip. Those historic stone stairways turn super slick when they get wet. And third, definitely bring a dry bag or just a simple pouch for your phone and camera so a passing shower doesn't suddenly ruin your electronics and end your photography. Moving on to our next big challenge, how to beat the crowds. Now that we've conquered the weather and know exactly how to pack, we really need to talk about navigating the massive throngs of tourists because, let's face it, you aren't the only one who wants to see this gorgeous town. Here's your survival guide to the crowds. Peak chaos hits between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., especially on weekends when those big tour buses hit hard. And Lunar New Year, that is the absolute peak you want to avoid. The lanes can literally become shoulder to shoulder. But contrast that with what we'll call the quiet zones. If you go before 9 a.m. or after 8 p.m., especially on a weekday, the edges of the day are incredibly calm, serene, and mostly empty. Now, what's really interesting here is how Nathan Pell suggests bypassing this nightmare. He advises, if you are stuck with the weekend, let the clock do the work. Be walking the Old Street by 9 a.m. or arrive after 5 p.m. By just shifting your arrival time by a few hours to either side of that major coach rush, you bypass the chaos entirely. He actually notes it feels like a completely different town, even on a really busy Saturday. However, there is a very important catch to arriving late. While the Old Street is a public lane that technically never locks, its life completely follows the stalls. Most shops and food stalls operate from late morning around 9 a.m. to roughly 8 or 9 p.m. So while you definitely want to avoid the midday crowds, do not show up at 8:30 p.m. expecting a full, bustling market.
By 9 p.m., most snack shops have totally shut down, leaving only the street lanterns and maybe a few late-night tea houses. Which brings us to the grand finale, the perfect daily itinerary. All right, we've mastered the weather and we've decoded the crowd patterns. It's time to combine all of this knowledge into one flawless master plan. Here is the golden equation for the absolute best conditions you can get. Autumn, plus a weekday visit, plus a late afternoon arrival. This specific, targeted combination guarantees you the driest weather, the thinnest crowds, and allows you to experience a sunset over the sea and those glowing red lanterns, all in one single efficient trip. Let's see how this builds into a highly actionable step-by-step timeline. First, aim to arrive around 2 to 3 p.m. The worst of the lunchtime coach crowd is leaving, and you get to walk the old street and eat all the incredible snacks while there's still plenty of daylight. Then, at 5 p.m., go claim a seat at a tea house and intentionally hold it through the sunset. Finally, right around 6 p.m., stay in your seat or step outside to watch those famous red lanterns actually turn on. It is an absolutely perfect stress-free flow. We've given you the data, the expert hacks, and the ultimate timeline. You know to skip the summer typhoons, dodge the morning tour buses, and perfectly pack that rain jacket. You are completely equipped for this. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought as you plan your adventure. Instead of hoping for a perfectly clear day that might never actually come, are you ready to embrace the rain and discover the true, glowing magic of Jiufen? Dive in, enjoy the journey, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.